Over to the United Kingdom, where it looks like Brexit is up in the air all over again. A new showdown is looming between Prime Minister Boris Johnson and Parliament. The opposition has labelled his strategy to exit the EU as disastrous, saying he has no clear negotiating plan with Brussels. But the Prime Minister remains confident of his Brexit strategy.
Mr. Speaker, let us be absolutely clear. This government is going to get a deal from our friends in Brussels, and we will get the backstop out. We will get an agreement. I think this House can approve. The only thing that's standing in our way is the undermining of those negotiations by this surrender bill, which would lead to more dither and delay.
And you are now looking at live pictures from Parliament, where later MPs will vote to try and delay Brexit until the 31st of January 2020. They want to ensure the UK doesn't crash out of the EU without a divorce deal, something Mr. Johnson is prepared to do.
For more, let's head live now to Ollie Barrett. He is in London for us. Ollie, what's the likelihood of early elections at this point?
Very high indeed. The question really now is when the election is going to be called and when it might take place. Boris Johnson is saying that if MPs, opposition MPs and some rebel Conservatives do go ahead later and vote in favour of legislation to extend the Brexit process to avoid a no deal, he says that at that point he will want to call an election. The problem he has is that he needs two-thirds of MPs in the House of Commons to back him, and it's not at all clear that they will yet. The opposition Labour Party is saying that it will back an election, but only if the legislation is passed first, which would see Brexit delayed to avoid a no-deal scenario. There are other ways we could get to an election. It could come a few days later. It could come as a result of a no-confidence vote in Boris Johnson's government. That is also not out of the question at this point. It is looking increasingly as if we are headed soon into a UK general election. The question really is when exactly it can be approved, and therefore when the date for that election will be. Boris Johnson hopes it'll be October the 14th or 15th.
Ollie, why is Mr. Johnson so optimistic that he will be able to remove the backstop from the agreement with the EU?
It's very hard to say at this point. We've just been having Boris Johnson's first Prime Minister's Questions session in the House of Commons. It's being pointed out to him that it could be his last if his government collapses and if he doesn't win the impending general election. But throughout that Prime Minister's Questions session, he was asked by British lawmakers, what proposals are you making to the European Union with regards to replacing the backstop in Theresa May's withdrawal agreement? He insisted throughout that progress was being made in negotiations with Brussels, that progress was being made in talks with Germany and France and Ireland. He did not give any detail at all about exactly what proposals Britain is putting forward or is going to put forward. So we are very much in the dark at this point. We do know, though, that Boris Johnson believes that he needs to get over this parliamentary hurdle over the next week or so, and perhaps a general election too, before he believes the European Union will enter into meaningful negotiations. And with regards to that potential date of an election, October the 14th or 15th, that is because there is a European Union summit on October the 17th. He sees that as a crucial moment to try and win a deal.
We'll definitely have a clearer picture later, but thanks so much for speaking to us. Ollie Barrett speaking to us from London.